I feel like this is public knowledge, but Uncle Joey from Full House.
His name is
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier.
Dave
Coulier.
Coulier.
It's kind of like Kanye.
That's his name?
Yeah, like
Coulier?
Dave Coulier.
Dave Coulier?
Dated.
No, there's no space. Shut up. There's no space. It's just Coulier. He's
No,
like
his middle name is Cool. His last name is Ye.
No, it's
Listen.
not.
It's not. It's Coulier. Just let's go. Let's get to this fact. Let's get this over with.
But it's French, so it's spelled I-E-R.
Yeah. Coulier.
He dated or was married to Alanis Morissette. Okay.
Who's that?
Are you serious?
Oh,
the
You've
age,
never heard-
the age
yeah,
gap
the
just
age-
showed just awful.
You've never heard one hand in my pocket and the other one is flicking a cigarette. You've never heard that?
Are you serious?
No.
What about
Isn't it ironic?
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
None of this?
Hey, we need to
so
stop.
good.
Listen, we need to stop because that sounds so good that we might get flagged on
We'll
YouTube.
get DMCA.
It's so close to the original track. YouTube is like,
So-
throw some ads on this.
Hilarious.
So Dave, who played Uncle Joey in Full House, he dated Alanis Morissette, which doesn't make sense.
Is she good looking?
I mean, yeah.
Is this what we want the podcast to
I
be about?
need this fact to be done with so we can start the podcast.
I agree. Let's go.
So he like broke her heart like hard, and she released one of the most scathing revenge albums of all time, and it's like triple billion platinum, like it's awesome. But if you go back and like watch Full House, like he's like this goofy like Uncle Joey,
out.
just crazy man.
Cut
crazy.
it out. What's the name of the album?
Jagged Little Pill. See, every single human will know that except for you. Jagged Little Pill.
You were deep in Romania still.
You were just a Romanian child.
Welcome to the Brightful Podcast. Hey, we got a middle camera this time. I'm going to say what's up. Welcome to the Brightful Podcast, where we are creatives inspiring other creatives, helping you do your best work by staying inspired. We are here at the 1904 in Brazelton, specifically our favorite local spot, Flourish Tap Room. We love it here. And on this podcast, we're going to talk about things that inspire us, that hopefully inspire you. Things like books and magazines and websites and video games and music albums and all the great things. So we hope they're incredibly inspiring. You can always check the description and the show notes for all the links and everything, and check out our site, brightfulstudio.com. Let's hit it, boys.
I'm going to get this out of the way. Episode 2, where I talked about Blackstone Griddles.
Yes.
Possibly my finest work. The creatives from Blackstone Griddle actually reached out to us on Instagram, and they really interacted with us and our account. And it was just one of those times where I'm like, life's really cool in 2022. Like,
It's a weird world.
There's literally no rules to anything. So shout out again to Blackstone.
Thanks, guys.
I made some gnarly tacos the other day, and they were fantastic. Tweet me for the recipe. Can I go first?
Go first.
I met with a very young creative a couple of days ago.
Was it you? Did you time travel into the past and talk to yourself?
What's his name and what are his greatest vulnerabilities?
A bowl-cutted Jonathan from 95. No, I met with a young creative, and he had reached out to me, and he had asked me, hey, can I get like an hour of your time? I'm like, great, sure. I assumed that it was going to be basically him asking like technical questions, like, hey, I see this graphic on Pinterest. How do you do this in Photoshop or Illustrator or blah, 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 blah. But when we met, he was like, this might be like a really layered question, but like, I've been doing work, and the people that I do the work for really like it, but I don't like anything I do. And he's like, I'm stressed out because I don't.
Everybody watching is feeling this.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
I mean, it is. I explained to him, like that is classic imposter syndrome, right? So that's like all artists I feel like are like I'm a fraud, right? But I was able to say like, no, like, it's everybody feels that way. And so through this conversation, it was a very good conversation. And I was telling him things about not the how to do, but the like why we do. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of explaining to him a lot of things, and then I was like, where am I pulling all this info from, right? So I'm like, all this I'm saying, like, I believe it, and it's just a part of my creative DNA now. So I went home and I'm like, wait, like there was a book. There's a book that changed my life because I found it when I was burnout, like hard, like really burnout. And this book is called All That Is Made. So it's this book. It's from a company called Alabaster Co, which shout out to Alabaster Co, because if you don't know them, they basically do these beautiful coffee book tables of books of Bibles. Okay, so it's like they're taking a Bible that exists and they're making it beautiful, a beautiful coffee table book. And so this is one of their devotionals, I guess. But I used to share this book with everybody. So like I'm obviously a believer, but like if I'm talking to a creative who's not, I still think that there's crazy value in this. This book is basically explaining, in a nutshell, it's basically explaining, hey, like creativity is something that we don't control. Okay. Yeah. Creativity is a gift. Like nobody can pinpoint, hey, there's a reason Jonathan sees, let's just say, a flower, and he feels a certain way, and it triggers him to think, oh, that would be cool if we did this and this and this and this and this, versus like somebody who's not, who's like a flower, great, done.
There's a real story to that I might hit in a minute.
Good. So like creativity is a gift. And instead of being stressed out that we have no control over creativity, like let's say we're burnt out, instead of being like defeated by that, we can say, listen, it's going to come back. Like it's a gift that I have. I just need to know that it's going to come back. It gives you freedom, which in turn opens up your mind, which usually in turn lets you finish that project or gets over that hump or just feel better about yourself as a creative. There's 1,000 lines in this that I highlighted, and this book is beat to crap, but it's like creativity is a gift, and the reason that we create is to make others feel known and alive. Yeah. Right?
Ooh, and alive.
Like that, like when I read that the first time, I'm like, yes. So all that said, it's like if you're stuck and you're like, I don't know why, but every logo I do looks the same. I can't figure out this project or this or this or this. Like I would suggest this book. And it's not about, hey, this is how to be a better designer. It's about, hey, accept who you are as a creative and use that freedom to create more and create better. Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
So we'll obviously put a link to that.
Yeah, we'll put a link to that, to Alabaster Co.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys. They do all their own copywriting, designing, photography.
It's beautiful.
And it's really well done. Can I segue? Because
of course.
Take that thought. Is that cool? Unless your segue is like perfect on that.
It's real. It couldn't be less perfect.
It couldn't be less.
If we had figured out what he was doing and I decided to do something completely dissimilar.
That is an example of our friendship.
Yeah.
In a very good
perfectly.
Yeah.
This is also the reality of, to those of you watching and listening, we genuinely walk in here and don't know what each other is going to say. We have no idea. Yeah. So these conversations are...
I don't even know what I'm going to say right now. So
that's also true. But the conversations are rich because we're genuinely sitting down and we're like, we do this anyway. We're just recording it. But segueing that, I want to tell a quick story before giving my inspiration, because you were like, as a creative, what if you like saw a flower and then this? And I was like, but that really happened. This is a real life story. There is a real life story when you read the Steve Jobs book. And in the Steve Jobs book, they talk about the design of the Mac, the Thunderbolt display. Mm-hmm. You guys know where I'm going with this?
No, I do, but yeah.
In the Steve Jobs book, Steve obviously is like famously known for doing like walking meetings and like just taking long walks and thinking, which is surprisingly incredibly good for creatives and thinking and all that stuff. Not surprisingly, but he's in his backyard, which is like beautifully gardened by his wife and his family and his kids, just beautifully gardened. And he's walking in the back with Jony Ive. Classic. Shout out. We love you, man. Like, you're so good. All that. He's walking in the back with Jony Ive. Jony sees a flower. In the stem of the flower and the actual flower floating. And he's like, what if we made the display float like the flower? What if we gave it like a hook to float the display? Like, what if it had what it is today?
Yeah.
All that came from Johnny's crazy mind.
Yeah.
His ability to foresee that, look at anything creative.
Yeah.
And be like, what if we did this?
Yeah.
So there is a real story of a creative looking at a flower, interpreting it differently than anybody else would have interpreted it.
Yeah.
And been like, what if we do this? And obviously now millions of you have Mac displays.
Oh yeah. And and to triple down, sorry, we're going back to me.
That's good.
Because I was first.
You're not first, you're last.
First,
Shake
you're
and bake,
last.
baby.
The same thing, I told this young creative, the same thing, that same feeling, that same overwhelming emotion that you feel every time you create art, and like that, like, oh, this isn't good enough, like, I'm not good enough. Like, you're overwhelmed by emotion, right?
Yeah.
But that same emotion is what you draw from to create. Like, you're pulling this overwhelming emotion to be like, I have to design a business card. You're pulling some weird emotional points and putting it all onto that project. It's the same feeling. It's what paralyzes you, but it's also what like propels you. So it's like, it's interesting.
I love that. I'm going to segue because I'm going to double down on the thought. I actually brought
This is quadruple down,
books.
by the way. You doubled down.
By this point, we're quadrupling.
Triple down. Now I'm gonna have to make something up for mine that
Make-
fits in this.
Well, I don't know.
Do
what
you want one of my
next
books?
is.
I brought two books. I just finished the Accidental Creative for the second. I read it. I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago. Todd Henry, incredible. He's written many books. He wrote the Accidental Creative, Hurting Tigers, Die Empty, bunch of just phenomenal books, and I'm kind of rereading them for a specific purpose. I'm coming out of and I'm probably gonna reread that and sitting because I'm trying to spark more thoughts and curiosity in my head and navigating those things. And so this is a phenomenal book on creatives who are looking for more structure in their process and trying to get out of the mundaneness of like, again, a lot of what you're talking about where it's like, well, I just really don't like love what I'm doing. Like he adds like structure and wisdom. And the thing that I love about Todd Henry in this, and I'm going to tie these two together. The thing that I love about Todd Henry in the Accidental Creative is like Todd Henry has been doing this for like 20 years. Yeah. No joke. The Accidental Creative podcast has been out since 2005. He's been giving free content since 2005.
What else has he written?
He's written Die
Hurting
Empty,
Tigers.
Hurting Tigers.
That's-
Yeah,
yeah.
It's the blue cover with the tiger on it.
Yeah, I read Hurting Tigers. Yeah,
Me too.
Which is great. And he's just, and I think he's got like, dude, he's probably in the front of it. He's got like 4 or 5 other books. But this is what I love. This is what I love about Todd Henry is one, his status to be able to write this book, The Accidental Creative, to be able to write this book is coming from 20 years of his creative rhythms, of him waking up, doing the same morning routine, having the same passion, persistence, and grit after creative work, after writing 8 books, owning a company, leading multiple creatives. Like he's got the ability and the knowledge to write this book in a sea of 2022, and not derogatory to anybody writing books or tweeting or anything like that, where it just feels like a lot of people are putting out platitudes and they're more philosophical in thought, but not a lot of experience because anybody has access to the internet nowadays. And so like, I'm an avid tweeter. I love to tweet and I get on there and I'm like, there's a lot of people that just don't have a ton of experience that are kind of just regurgitating a lot of content. But like this dude like lived it. And he's like living, he's 20 years into the creative rhythms. And so to dive in and he gives his wisdom on how to create margin and curiosity and passion and persistence over the long haul. And I'm like, that's what I want. Because I want to do this for a long time. I don't want to burn out and I don't want to be bored. And so he does a really, really great job of that. And I as soon as I finished it, somebody sent me this book, The Art of Impossible. I picked it up because I read something off like Dan Co on Twitter, who's just great at thinking and writing and stuff like that. I picked it up and then I started reading it and it's genius.
And you said something when you and I were talking, and you were like, it puts into words things that I have felt for the last like 5 years.
Totally.
It's always the best affirming feeling ever. That's
exactly what this book has done for me. And now, obviously, that's very personal to me.
Yeah.
Where, like, I've been trying to navigate the tension between my curiosities and my purpose and the things that I'm actually, like, really good at.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I have this tension. I live in this world where, like, I'm organized and project focused, but at the same time, I'm just heavily creative, and I love the creative side significantly more than I'm just like templates and projects. Like, that's cool, but like, whatever. And he has some like words in there that really, he talks about. The entire book is very helpful for creatives as far as like there's science and biology and thoughts behind how you're wired, and how to optimize your mind for thinking and curiosity, and how to find your true purpose and how you're specifically wired, which I think is helpful because we're all wired differently. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll never be as good as a designer as you. I'll never be as good as an animator as you. And in navigating that, I'm like, well, what do I do? And it's helped me figure out some things. And one of the condensed lines of it is like, curiosity is a spark, passion is a flame, and purpose is a fire.
That's awesome.
And tying those three together is like, don't disregard your curiosities because they might lead you to your passion. And then your passion is going to absolutely tie to your purpose.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Really incredible. And I tweeted something about that, which my Twitter is just notes to myself. But in that, he's really done a good job of like helping me understand as a creative, like, hey, lean into your wiring.
Yeah.
And I've been leaning into my wiring of writing and thinking a lot more. And I'm like, but that's how I'm wired, and that's okay.
I love that, like, my book was about, like, rainbows and unicorns, and yours is about, like, science and biology. but it's like both about creativity. It's
yes.
That's just really funny. That explains you and I very well as well. Like,
yeah.
Like,
gosh, and I've just been sitting here quiet because I got nothing to add to this conversation.
You got it. Yay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anywho, those two books, Timmy.
Good Lord. All right. Well, now for something completely different.
Anyways, that's enough time. We'll see you guys next.
Like,
all right,
dude. After the spark flame fire thing, I'm like,
I wish we could have ended.
We
with
should
that.
just end there, and I can just be a silent third in this episode, and I'm totally fine with that.
Take us home, Timmy.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, I found a YouTube channel this week. Okay, so I just wrapped up. I wrapped up a big show with my friends at the Media Indie Exchange. Shout out to Justin and
awesome.
Joel and all them.
Love you guys.
Looked incredible.
And so one of the things that I find when I'm putting showcases like that together is I always dream way bigger than I've got time for, and then we get to like the month away point, and I'm like, frick. Okay, so if I don't bail out now, my whole life is going to be this thing for the next like month. So anyway, so I'm trying to find ways to like chop down the time spent post creating a thing inside of Cinema 4D or After Effects or Premiere or whatever. I'm trying to figure out ways to chop that down and do those things much, much faster, so that way I can spend way more time creating something cool and less time rendering. And obviously there's, render farms and stuff you can send your stuff out to, and that'll give you your product better. Anyway, the world of motion and VFX and 3D and all that stuff is obviously moving quickly to a real-time space. So we're talking like Unreal Engine, we're talking about Unity and stuff like that, where they're using these game engines in order to build out animations, 3D graphics, visual effects, all that stuff. And depending on what style you want, it can get photoreal, or it can get super toon shaded and fun, or it can be anywhere in between. So I spent my time this week kind of like jumping on the internet, trying to figure out a really good entry place for transitioning from the kind of build, render, deliver to build while rendering and then deliver kind of workflow inside of Unreal. So I found this dude. I think he was part of Corridor Digital at one point. His name's PWNISHER.
PWNISHER, that's great.
Yeah, he's pretty great. So the good thing about PWNISHER that I love, that I found insanely inspiring about like his tutorials and his talks and stuff, is that he's not walking people through piece by piece, click this, then click that, then click this, then click that. His and again, I'm speaking a little bit naively because I only found his account this week, but I mean, I've literally taken in as much of his kind of
Yeah, you went down the rabbit
tutorial
hole.
Stuff. I took as much of it in as I could in a short amount of time because, again, I'm trying to reposition myself inside of Unreal instead of staying inside of Cinema 4D alone. And again, the thing that I love, the thing that I would say that it wasn't a complaint, but the thing that you saw a lot in like the aughts and even the early 10s was like people would put a tutorial up. You'd get rad dudes like EJ or the guys from Gorilla or like Andrew Kramer. They would go and they would put these tutorials out, and then you would see in people's like reels and stuff like the tutorial rebuilt. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, very well.
And so that was like a real big issue. And the thing that I think this dude's doing super well, and that I've really like respected, appreciated, and honestly just like he even starts all his like little talks with like you can follow along if you want, but if not, he's like all of them start with like the sit back, relax, and enjoy the process. And so he does like
yeah, I love that too.
the one that he just released 12 days ago is called How I Create Photoreal 3D Environments Using Unreal Engine 5 Art Breakdown. And again, all of his stuff feels a lot like this one. He'll kick it off. He'll go, here's my process at the top. He'll go through the whole process, and then he shows the delivered project. And he's like, all right, so this took about 3 weeks to create from start to finish, but he condenses it down. This one's a 21-minute piece. And instead of walking you by it piece by piece, he's kind of more talking you through his process. And like this one was super interesting, and I think we've all experienced things like Midjourney and Diwali. Diwali? No, not Diwali. That's the the Hindu holiday. Not Diwali. What is it? Oh, Dali. Sorry. Okay, so my wife and I just watched The Office, and it was the Diwali episode.
Yes.
This whole thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Where she dresses up as a cheerleader because he told her that it was a costume party.
Michael just pulls the head off.
This is so good.
Anyway, so Dolly, right? So all these AI like artistic creations, you put in a prompt and then the AI spits out a thing. So he's just going through his whole process of how he's doing this. And I won't get too specific into this. I will just say the idea of sharing your process and the idea of not going like minute by minute, hour by hour on how you built a thing. This dude, the way he's doing his page, the way he's sharing his process, the way he's like speaking into what he's doing in a way that hopefully equips people to not duplicate what he did, but take the process and the thoughts that he's got as he goes to each piece of his of what he's creating. Like that's super exciting and inspiring to me. And again, and you know, I subscribe to everything that this dude puts out. I'm gonna absolutely just like gobble up because
it sounds like he humanizes it.
Totally.
Which is refreshing because...
And the best part is if you're someone who watches this breakdown or any one of his other breakdowns, you're not going to see this piece on someone else's reel or portfolio. You're going to see... You'll potentially see the process that Punisher put... I wish I knew his real name and I didn't have to call him Punisher, but that's what it says on his thing, so we're good. You won't see the end result that Punisher came up with. You will hopefully see maybe how... You will understand how the person got from here to there.
Yep.
So is it safe to say that Punisher is more like education and entertainment at the same time? Is that like the vibe where he's like, hey, you're gonna enjoy this, but like you'll learn along the way?
Sure.
Or does it feel like peer to peer, where instead of like I'm gonna teach you how to do this, it's like, hey, let's do this.
Yes, it's very much because he I mean he puts the lo-fi beats on. It's like I love that.
What up, noobs? I'm gonna walk you through this bit.
Yeah.
Alan's bought in.
Yeah,
Lo-fi.
Take any tutorial you would ever find, like trim it down to just the thought of the process of the thing, and then add a really rad track, and then even his voice and just the way he's kind of just vibing through it's a real good time. And it's super inspirational, again, to see someone putting stuff out there that feels like he just wants, he goes, sit back, relax, and enjoy the process. He's
freaking love that.
He's trying to show you what he's doing and get you more thinking about the process of how to build something versus being like, here's how to build this thing so that you can build it and then not use it because it's not yours, it's mine.
That's awesome.
So,
hey, your shoes are awesome.
Yeah, I like
really fast.
I like
3
ending the
seconds.
episodes with what's the heat on the feet.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
Oh no, we need to build a bumper for
it
heat on the
no.
feet.
Heat on the welcome to the Brightful Podcast, where we talk about the heat on the feet.
Oh my!
I love your shoes, Alin. I always love your shoes.
All right, hold on. Let's make the round. That's
Okay,
how
but
we'll
really
finish the
quick.
episode. I think I like this. created in episode 4. We'll end episodes with Heat on the Feet.
Well, I can't keep up with that. I don't have that much money or patience.
Yeah,
to
you
buy
win.
It's gonna be it doesn't matter.
No, it
We'll
doesn't.
wear the same
Listen.
cool
I'm gonna have to
stuff.
stuff my 12s into an unused pair of your 9s.
Listen.
10.
Organically,
I'm not a
I
9.
love your shoes.
Thank you, Dunk Lows.
Yes.
They're
Alin,
beautiful.
Beautiful New Balances. These are made out of recycled materials I bought, and I don't know what they're called, but they have a flower on the tongue, and we're done.